If you like your health care plan, you can keep your health care plan. What we said was you could keep it if it hasn't changed since the law was passed.
So this was the runaway favorite with readers. 59% voted for this as lie of the year.
Yeah, the editors of Politifact selected this because it had the most impact on the national debate. It's something we first flagged back in 2009. We said this is partly right. The health care law does leave in place the existing health care system, but it's partly wrong because we knew back then not everybody would be able to keep their health care plan. And this was the year that it was proved false as these cancellation letters went out.
Wow, who would have thought that CNN would trumpet that Barack Obama was pegged by PolitiFact as the liar of the year, and he's liar of the year by virtue of the fact that he told what has been awarded the lie of the year. Joining us right now to talk about that and so much more is our friend Sean Spicer, Communications Director for the RNC. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Steve. How are you?
Good to talk to you.
Great to talk to you.
So I guess that does make Obama the liar of the year.
It makes a lot of people the liar of the year because you had each one of those Democrats, particularly the senators, go out and repeat that, and they knew it was false when they said it was false. And it's something that is going to help, I think, give us a lot more credibility as we head into cycle and are able to make sure that people understand that they knew this was wrong. They repeated it, and they campaigned on it, and now they've been caught on it.
Yeah, well, absolutely, they've been caught on it, and people do, I think, understand that. But when you look at every single poll that's come out in the last month where Obama's honesty and trustworthiness, are, along with his approval rating, are in the toilet, and that's the first time that this has happened since he's come on the scene.
Well, you know, I just – the thing, again, that really grates at me, and I think should grate on not just your listeners but everyone across the country, is I really when they were putting this together.
Wait, you don't think everyone across the country is listening to this right now? I'm kidding.
You know what, Steve? Here's what I've learned. Actually, the funniest thing, as a side note, that I've realized in doing this job over the last 2 years, you see a lot of data. It's amazing the people who have a lot of free time during the day.
Unfortunately, now that's right.
I have really found that one of the interesting things is that conservatives work.
Yeah. I was just teasing you.
A quick side note. This is totally off topic, but it's funny because one of the things that we did, there were some things unequivocally that were done wrong during the last campaign, and one of the things, but there was a lot of things that went right, but there were people who were looking at the Obama campaign, and they said, all these people, the Obama campaign really targeted these people at night and were going after crazy shows, and I kept joking to people and saying, you know, independents, conservatives, they're asleep. Because they have to get up and go to a job the next day. And all these people were saying, why didn't you guys advertise at 3 in the morning? I always got a kick out of saying, because our guys are actually working or at work. And anyway, that's a distraction. But, you know, the thing about the Obamacare issue that really kind of tweaks me and should tweak everybody is when they were putting this whole thing together, there were amendment after amendment that they were putting together, especially on the Senate side, where they were defining what type of plans would be. They were defining what grandfathering is. So what kind of plan would be allowed to stay? And they were very specific about it, so they knew exactly what they were saying would not be true. And yet they went ahead and repeated it and kept going at it until finally the evidence and the regulations were coming out and the votes matched up with the amendments, and people could really make the case that, wait a second, you did know that this wasn't true. And so that's what I find to be the toughest part of this, is that it's one perpetual. It's like Watergate. It's not the lie. It's the cover-up.
Right, and unfortunately, unlike Watergate, right now 6-7 million people are directly affected. But down the road, you know, every prediction is that by this time next year, maybe 80, maybe 100 million of us are going to be in that same position, scared and frightened and getting cancellation notices.
Oh, definitely, because what's the sort of proverbial other shoe has not dropped yet, and that's this. Right now we've been having this sort of big discussion about people that are in the individual market, self-employed people, or for whatever reason people have gone out and bought their own insurance. In the next year, company after company, costs are going to go up such that companies are going to say, it's easier to put our employees in the exchanges and send them packing than it is to keep offering health care. And so You'll lose your employer-based health insurance. You'll have to go to the exchange. You'll probably not be able to keep your doctor. And so this is not going to get better with time. It's going to get worse.
Right. Okay. Which leads me to this question. Just had Byron York on earlier, and he's talking about how a majority of Republicans in the House have signed on to this one Republican alternative. I could actually find the bill number for you if you like, and that is, to quell, well, it's H.R. 3121, the American Healthcare Reform Act, which incorporates many good things. Do you feel that there's a need for the Republicans in the House to pass something, get behind one bill? I know they've had 200 ideas out there. I know they've passed several bills that never got anywhere in the Senate. But do you think it's important to be able to quiet the left in the media, the left elected officials, and when they say, you guys have no answer, and the president, you just want to go back to the old way, you just want to destroy this, but you have no answer? Do you need to pass something so you could hold it up and say, here's our answer? Or is it better to just sit back, stand back, let this debacle fold out and go into 2014 without, take the criticism and don't have a plan that the Democrats can then turn around and start targeting themselves?
It's a great question. I think there's somewhat of a disagreement on the tactics of how we do it, but I will say this. I think we do need to be for something. The exact packaging of it is above my pay grade. And what I mean is that there's a lot of stuff, and especially in the bill that you just mentioned, that's a combination of bills that we Republicans have passed over the last several years or voted on or proposed, and it packages them nicely. There are some people that still believe that we should do them individually so that we can keep, kind of instead of packaging them all one, highlight each aspect of some of our health care proposals that will give people greater access and drive down costs.
Right.
And I'm not going to – I do think that it is important that we be for something because it's not just tactically and politically, but I also think I think our ideas are better. I think conservative ideas that get anyone who's dealt with an insurance company or just, had a serious illness where they've had to deal with this whole issue understands that the current system doesn't work. And I believe that the ideas that I've heard conservatives espouse will truly drive down costs, will give us greater access and better medicine.
Right.
And so I think that we can win the battle of ideas.
Okay.
How we exactly put that out there
is up for debate, yeah. All right, not to interrupt you, but we only have 2 minutes, and I do want to get to this. This infighting, John Boehner turning on Tea Partiers and conservative groups and doing it the first day and then doubling down yesterday and basically saying they forced me to shut down the government. Why would the Speaker of the House want to say we shut down the government and it's their fault when in fact it was the president who shut down the government? And the Republicans have never been able to make that argument. But why did Boehner go off the way he did?
Well, look, I'm not trying to punt the question, but I don't know any more than you did. You do in terms of what he said and why he said it.
Was it good for him to say that or not good for him from the Republican Party standpoint?
Look, here's what I'll tell you. I think that the Tea Party and a lot of those groups are a vital and instrumental part of our party and part of the conservative movement. I think all of us would hopefully agree that when we are aiming in the right direction, trying to make sure that we win elections, that we institute conservative principles, we are better off. And that when we recognize the fact that if everyone is committed to getting rid of something like Obamacare, it is okay and healthy to say we disagree on the tactics to get rid of it, and we shouldn't be sort of questioning other people's motives if they don't agree with the tactics.
Right.
I think that's what. But so, and I'm not. But I think the problem is that I think the Speaker probably feels that he's been maligned and attacked by these groups who have questioned his leadership and his strategy. When he shares that goal, there's no one that's fought harder, frankly, than John Boehner to get rid of it. And
Sean, we're almost out of time, but I hear what you're saying. But yeah, I think you agree and I agree. There was probably a better way for him to present that. If he presented it as you just did, that would have been better. Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Always appreciate you coming on.
Have a great weekend, Steve. Thank you.
You too. Take care. Sean Spicer, Communications Director, RNC.